Lots of great things going on today. We've got the races. We've got the behind-the-scenes coverage. We've been here since Thursday. You've seen the tower go up. You've seen all kinds of great things go on. This year things are a little bit different. What's changed a little bit is that the weather is a lot cooler than what it was last week. Tri-Cities over 100 degrees. Also, here at Seafair, before we get started, I want to give a special thanks to Eric Radovich and all the personnel down there at Seafair, and all the people here on the Start Finish Tower Group have been very gracious to us. I want to give special thanks to our camera people down in the pits, Scott and Eric Clam, and also a gentleman who's here today also doing cameras is J.C. Bailey, and our audio man, who is, gentleman's name is the man DJ. So hold on just 1 second here while we get that. It's coming through good. Okay, it's okay. Now, as long as it's coming through, we're okay. Gentlemen, we're back here at the, hold on, let me see, it's working. Check, 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 1, 2, 3. Test, oh. Testing. Gentlemen, this is Curtis Blackwell along with Fred Farley. This is a tribute to the legend Bernie Little, who passed away here not too long ago. And now here is Fred Farley talking about the hydroplanes that goes around. Fred?
Thank you, Curtis. Okay, today we honor a legend, the late great Bernie Little, who first brought a boat to Seattle in 1963. That was the 4-seater Tempo. And he brought his first Miss Budweiser to Seattle in 1964. And we are honoring him, Mr. Little, today through the exhibition run of his 1980 national champion Miss Budweiser, which will be driven by David Williams of the Hydroplane Race Boat Museum. This boat was designed and built by Ted Jones' son Ron Jones. And Ted Jones and Ron Jones had a hand in quite a few Miss Budweiser hulls in the past. And the 1980 hull was powered by a Rolls-Royce Griffin engine. And this was the last piston-powered boat to ever win a race on Lake Washington. That was in 1984 with Jim Cropfeld driving. And the boat will be starting up and entering the course in a very short time.
All right, thank you, Fred. And while we're waiting for that, let's talk about Bernie Little. And Bernie Little was a man. He helped this sport. He financed it in Tri-Cities in Seattle. And he had, what, the most wins as far as the hydroplanes go? And what year did Bernie Little start?
Mr. Little won a total of 134 races during his career, which lasted from 1963 until the last day of the 2002 season at San Diego last year, when his boat, the Miss Budweiser, clinched his 22nd national championship on the last day of the season. So Mr. Little quite literally went out a winner. He passed away here in April of 2003, and he won his first race in 1966 with a Les Stoddicker designed hull over at the Tri-Cities, Washington. That was the first victory by a Miss Budweiser hull, and also the first race ever run at the Tri-Cities race location. Bill Brow was his driver at that time. And Mr. Little won his first national championship in 1969. That was with the driver Bill Starrett Sr. And he won his first Gold Cup the very same year. Some of his other drivers of the years have been the likes of Dean Chenoweth in 1970, later Mickey Riemann, and Jim Cropfeld, Chip Hanauer, right up to the present day with Dave Vilwalk. And to Mr. Little, his passing leaves a void that can never really be filled. And he was a participant, but also he was a friend to Unlimited Racing. He helped a lot of other teams when they were short on equipment, or they needed crew help. Okay, and that tradition continues to this day. just this weekend, in fact, the Oh Boy Alberto, Miss Madison, damaged their hull in a test run here on Friday. And the Miss Budweiser team made their shop available for repairs. So for the last 48 hours, the Alberto boat has been at the Miss Budweiser shop using the Budweiser facilities to enable them to get back in this race. That was typical of the spirit of Bernie Little, who was always helping his fellow competitors.
I have another question for you now. Are they going to fire? Are they having difficulty getting it fired up, or is he just waiting for the signal from the main pit tower to get to fire it up and make a round there? Or what's going on there now? What's going through his head?
I can't say at this point. Looks like they're having trouble getting started, but I really couldn't speculate as to that. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
All right, and until that time, let's talk more about classic boats. What was your most favorite moment while we're waiting for the boat to go out, Fred? What was the most classical moment you can remember, your most favorite moment here on the Seattle Stansairs race course? What's your favorite moment?
That would have to be the year that Hawaii Kai 3 in 1958 saved the Gold Cup for Seattle. That was in the days when the Gold Cup race location was determined by the yacht club of the winning boat. And in those days, the Seattle Yacht Club was the defending champion of the Gold Cup, and they had hosted the race on August 10th of that year. I was 14 years old, and all the other Seattle boats in the race had difficulty of one sort or another. The Miss Thriftway hit the Coast Guard boat, and other boats had mechanical difficulty, and there was one out-of-town craft in particular that was very formidable. That was the Maverick, representing the Lake Mead Yacht Club of Las Vegas, with Bill Stead driving. And the Maverick was coming off two very impressive victories in its two most recent races that year, and it was clearly the class of the field. And the Hawaii Kai had been in retirement for nearly a year, hadn't been run in competition since 1957. But at the last minute, the owner, Edgar Kaiser, pulled the boat out of mothballs, put Jack Regis, the driver, back in the cockpit, and then when all else seemed lost, the Kai had dominated the field once again, as she had in 1957, and saved the Gold Cup for Seattle. That has to be my favorite moment at a Seattle race over all these years. Hawaii Kai 3, saving the Gold Cup for Seattle in 1958.
Well, apparently it looks like they're having difficulty getting it started, or they ran out of gas or something there. That's kind of a bummer. Are they going to run it this one time this morning, or is that, you don't know yet? Okay. What do you do? What does a driver do when they start preparing themselves for the race, actual race itself? And like back in the olden days, say when they had the old boats, what exactly was going through the driver's mind when they get up on that cockpit and fire up that engine? Tell us about that.
Well, when a driver gets behind the wheel, he suddenly feels very alone. And there's a silent prayer that the engine will start. And those old piston engines, on a warm day, it was sometimes very difficult to get started. And our jet turbine powered entries of today have a much easier task in getting under power than their counterparts for the 1950s and 60s. And I think we hear the roar of that glorious Griffin, at least a fire up there, and I think here we go. The Rolls-Royce Griffin sound for the 1980 Miss Budweiser. David Williams at the wheel. This was the boat that was national high point champion in 1980, 1981. It was the late great Dean Chenoweth driving. It was the last boat with piston power to win a race on Lake Washington. It's showing it's in championship form right now as it enters the north turn. And that thunderous sound was unique in unlimited racing. Not that many unlimiteds used the Rolls-Royce Griffin engine. There weren't that many Griffins manufactured. The Rolls-Royce Merlin was much more plentiful. And here comes David Williams down the front straightaway in tribute to a legend, Bernie Little. Miss Budweiser. Oh, that sound, that glorious sound, which has not been heard on this lake for so many years on a Seafair Sunday. This is what unlimited hydroplane racing was all about back in the piston era. And to David Williams and his staff of workers, and the current owner of the boat, Eric Mon, who is the president of the Hydroplane Race Boat Museum. Mr. Williams is the director of it. And it is now powering into the north turn. Really showing its stuff out there. This boat also won the Gold Cup out here in 1981 with Dean Chenoweth driving. It was a memorable, a very competitive event. He was fighting off a challenge from John Walters in the pay and pack and Chip Hanauer in the Squire shop. It was a very exciting 1981 Gold Cup, which this boat won. All three boats were in the north turn on the last lap of the race together. Could have gone either way. The pay and pack was right there, and then the Squire shop was right there. But dapper Dean Chenoweth held them off to the checkered flag. And another memorable race here on Lake Washington. And the boat's now turning into the infield. We'll be heading back to the Stanceres pits in tribute to the greatest owner in the history of unlimited racing, Mr. Bernard Leroy Little, who left this life in April of this year at age 77. But knowing Bernie, I'm sure he's looking down from above, and there's a smile on his face.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Fred Farley and the running of the classic hydroplane out there. Tribute to Bernie Little. Thank you very much for coming today, and we'll talk with you a little bit later. The race is over or whatever. Again, hydroplane historian Fred Farley here, and from the shores of Lake Washington, Saw Video Productions, behind the scenes for Seafair, your official behind the scenes videographer. Thanks again, Fred, and we'll see you real soon. And now it's time to go racing, ladies and gentlemen. Story about 1974. It was the only year that the hydroplane races were moved down up north here towards Sandpoint, and that was quite a year. That was the year that I was invited for my very first year on a start-finish tower. It was a barge, and it was also scaffolding put together. And what happened was that the race that year was just a complete fiasco. There was no shade nowhere. It was a hot 110 degrees. It was very hot. What I remember most is the Miss Weisfield was going along and wound up hitting another boat. It was the Miss Driftway. One of the boats sank to the bottom. It took them a couple hours to get that out going. And not only that, but the waves were choppy. It was just a bad day for everything. Points were going, communications were breaking down, and just delay after delay after delay. Well, the race finally went on until about 8:45. It was getting dark. And Bill Muncie wound up winning that one with the Miss Driftway. But there was a couple of boats that sank and somebody was injured that year. It was a bad year for memories. And one other memory we have here from the hydroplane pits there, Stanceres, was that about in 1978, 79, they introduced the turbine engine. And it was not too keen, but it was kind of, so-so. But another memory I remember is that back in 1985 or 86, when we first started doing this and started getting on the towers, was we were up at the corner of 47th and Bradford, and we'll just go ahead and let the tape roll and let you tell a story about it. But we're having a great day. The weather's nice and cool. It's about 75 degrees. Nice cool breeze blowing through here. Not like it was this past week. It was real hot, and the time trials have been good. Now we did see something that happened a little bit earlier, and that was one of the boats was riding maybe approximately, I heard 150, 200 feet. I'll have to check with Fred Farley on that and find out. As a matter of fact, Fred, come on over here. Come on over here, Fred, and grab one of those microphones right there. Go ahead and turn that one on there. And that's microphone number 2. Well, I'm standing here now. We're waiting for Heat 2A to begin. What do you think of the race so far, Fred?
Hectic.
Make sure you turned on it. There. Okay.
We've seen some spirited competition out there. A few gun jumps, a few driving errors, but it's early in the day, and what we've seen so far is indicative of what we see later on. It'll be a super competitive event, and we saw a lot of boats running side by side, and now I understand that they'll have assigned lanes for 2A and 2B, and it'll be the reverse order of their order of finish in Heat 1.
Now, for those people that don't know that reverse lane, explain what does that, is that something new? What does that mean exactly?
This is a concept that the HYDROPLANE has been working with for a number of years. Either to have lanes or not have lanes, and that's at the discretion of HYDROPLANE. It's all in the interest of making a better show for the spectators. And for Heats 1A and 1B, they let them fight for lanes. Slice and dice, as they say.
One more interesting thing we saw there earlier in Heat 2B, which boat was that was rowed for maybe, I heard 200 yards, maybe 150 yards, maybe 75 yards. It rowed, it looked like it was going to flip over, but it did not. What caused that from not flipping over?
Well, that was to the Trend West, and I credit that to the driving skill of Terry Troxell, who was able to coax that boat back down to a correct planing attitude.
Now, when they do that, when they're going like that, do they have to turn their steering wheel hard, or do they just kind of flex it? How do they work that?
Each driver has a pedal that operates the forward canard, which literally changes the design of the boat and the angle of the boat as it rushes into the wind. And that can be used, the driver's left foot has his left foot pedal is there for that purpose, and to bring the boat back down if it gets out of attitude.
Excellent. Well, Fred, thanks again for stopping by. Are they going to run any more Classic Hydros today, or
not to my knowledge, but let's wait and see.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Fred. And if that does happen again, Fred Farley will be joining us there for that. Thanks again. This is Curtis Black reporting with Fred Farley from the Start-Finish Tower from the shores of Lake Washington. Themselves up, as you can see right there, they line themselves up very, very, very quietly, very quickly. It's important to get to know the race course when you do that. So when they do line up there, they'll be side by side. You don't want to be going too fast, but you don't want to be going too slow. And here they come. Here they come racing down. Look at them, side by side, doing about 130, 140 miles per hour. And we have a race. Oh, one went down there. That was the Miss Trendsetter. The piston-powered boat went down. We heard something there. We're not quite sure exactly what happened. No, it was not the Budweiser. That's the Trendsetter. The Miss Trendsetter went down in the water there. As you can see right there, he just kind of sputtered a little bit, and instead of going and keep on going, first thing that they're required now. Fred Farley was telling me earlier that once they do get in there and they do have problems, they have to get off the side, and that's what he's done. All right, there we are. Excellent. There's Luminar. Whoa! If you notice the way that when they're going about 140 miles per hour, what happens what happens is that sometimes they go up a little bit and a little down. The waves get choppy. What causes that is that all the waves keep going towards the log boom and they roll back, and it causes what's called a rollback effect. Now I understand that somebody's been penalized one lap because they were too close. That's what I heard. And Nate Brown driving the Luminar. Then we got a battle back there for second, third inside. There he comes around. There they come around the north turn. Look at how high those rooster tails go. They're probably anywhere from 10 to 15 feet high. That's what made these hydroplanes famous, is their rooster tails. But it's not quite the same. The turbine is not quite the same as the old Allison engines, the Merlin Rolls-Royce engines. Look at those. He's doing about 150, 160 miles per hour. Not going to push it too much, but once they get the lead, they can stay on the lead. They don't have to push it too much, but you just never know when a boat's going to come right up from behind and come right along and take the lead. You just never know in this sport. You've got one more lap to go. Oh yes, beautiful Seafarer 2003, coming to you from the shores of Lake Washington. Yeah, we do have a race there. We got a first and second place here. And they're really pushing it to the limit. There he goes. As he comes around the north turn, doing about 150. Now we got a race there. We really got a race. There we go. Side by side. Probably about maybe three boat lengths. He's trying to put on. He's got it. There, oh, almost. There we go. Side by side, ladies and gentlemen. There he goes. And he passes. There goes Nate Brown. We don't know. Elam. All right, he passed him, ladies and gentlemen. Now that's what you call a race heat. Heat 2A. Home. Oh, there I am. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know that once again, it concludes another year. It's been a lot of fun, but we're not done yet. We're going to go ahead and have a quick interview here with Fred Farley, and if we can make it possible, with Pat O'Day in a post-wrap-up show. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a few minutes, and that concludes our coverage now. And so now, post-interviews. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again next year.
be our leader. And look at the race between J.W. Myers, the rookie, and Steve David, the veteran. And the old boy Alberto in the red, white, and blue boat in the Cole Marie yacht charters as they come by. And Terry Truck was way wide. The rooster tails flying. There's a boat in the middle of them. Everybody got by okay. Thank goodness for that. And Terry Troxel is flying that boat, Scott, up the back straightaway.
He really is. He has a hand coming hard, and he's running the heck out of that boat.
Okay, Scott, now the 2, the 6, and the 25 were over too early. I think that's going to make J.W. Myers your leader, driving the first heat of unlimited racing in his life.
Well, actually, he drove a heat in Tri-Cities, and he himself jumped the gun.
Terry Troxel is way out of the water as they come down to the south turn, guys. He had the whole front end of the boat. You can see this.
Fastest Lap Award. And to make that presentation, the representative from Anheuser-Busch, Brian Bellabradic.
Well, we'd like to congratulate Dave on a great race today. We'd like to congratulate him for the fastest lap. It was in the first heat today at 144.4 miles per hour. So Dave, congratulations.
This is Brian's first year, so it's fun to be able to make some new relationships and have some more fun. Thank you.
Now it's time to present the General Motors Cup at Seafair. And to do that, our representative from General Motors, please welcome Bruce Allen.
Very proud to present the winner of the championship heat to you and the Budweiser crew. Congratulations. Hey, thank you.
Be a last seafarer I wanted to win this trophy for.
Right on, Dave.
Thank you, Chevrolet. Thank you, Seafair. Thank you, Anheuser-Busch. Congratulations to Steve David.
Bernie Little.
Those guys had a tough weekend and they came back and they got a 3rd place. I'm real proud of those guys. And I don't know where everybody else was because my radio quit after I learned about.
Hey. Classic Hydros, ladies and gentlemen. Hydros next Sunday. We'll be there. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is a tradition that used to start back many years ago. All right. Looking forward to the Hydros. All part of Seafair. See you there. Love it! Arr! I like your car!
Always mind your mother. Clean up your room.
Arr! Happy Seafair! Chaos around here. All right, let's hear that cannon. Fire off that cannon. Give one for Seafair. Arr! I'm Moby Dick. Seattle Seafair Pirates. Let's hear that cannon. One for Seafair. Woo! Seafair Pirates. All right. Here we go. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Plug your ears. Plug your ears, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. You get it? We got it. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah.
Number 2. Qualified. Yep. Coming in, do a radio check. 1, 2, 3 in the far turn. Here's a man in action, does this every year, the surveying.